What if I told you there's a universe where everything you know about Spider-Man is turned upside down? Picture this. Norman Osborn, the brilliant CEO of Oscorp, is working late one night when that fateful radioactive spider bites him instead of Peter Parker. Norman, already a genius in his own right, gains these incredible powers. But unlike our Peter Parker, he's a mature businessman who immediately sees the potential. He creates the Spider-Man persona not just to help people, but to also boost Oscorp's public image. Smart, calculated, and experienced, Norman becomes a very different kind of Spider-Man. Meanwhile, young Peter Parker is still that brilliant high school student. But his story takes a dark turn. Without the spider bite, he continues his research, becoming increasingly obsessed with human enhancement. When he learns about Spider-Man's powers, it drives him to the edge. He can't stand that someone else got the power he believes he deserves. In his parents' old lab, Peter discovers notes about a performance-enhancing serum. But unlike Norman in our regular universe, Peter's young, reckless mind pushes him to test it on himself immediately. The formula works, but at a terrible cost. It fractures his mind, turning him into a teenage green goblin, perhaps even more dangerous because of his youth and unpredictability. Now imagine these two facing off. Norman, the experienced businessman turned hero, versus Peter, the young genius corrupted by jealousy and chemicals. Norman swinging through New York's skyline, using his corporate resources and mature mind to protect the city, while Peter terrorizes it with advanced weapons he created himself. The streets of New York become their battlefield. Norman has the experience and resources, but Peter has the raw genius and reckless abandon of youth. The Green Goblin's attacks are personal. He wants to prove he's smarter, better, more worthy of the powers that fate gave to Norman instead of him. It all comes down to a final battle above the city lights. Norman, fighting not just to stop Peter, but to save him, seeing in this twisted young man what his own son Harry could have become, and Peter, consumed by the goblin formula, determined to destroy the man who he believes stole his destiny. Who wins? Well, in this universe, Norman's experience and spider powers prove too much for Peter's chaotic brilliance. The older man's discipline and control ultimately overcome the goblin's fury. But it's a hollow victory for Norman, watching such a bright young mind lost to darkness, knowing that in another reality, things could have been very different. This just goes to show how fate's tiny twists can change everything. One spider, two possible victims, two very different stories. Sometimes the heroes and villains we know are just one moment away from trading places.